in today's video, I'm looking into some of my personal observations when it comes to an astrological birth chart, which can lead to a musical career, a career in music, musical talents, gifts, and abilities. Before starting this video, I do want to have a small disclaimer. Your talents aren't limited to a zodiac sign. If you don't have all of these points or some of these points, it doesn't mean you cannot be talented. It doesn't mean you don't have the ability to be successful in music, and you should always follow your passion. You should always follow your intuition. These are just some things that I really want to share with you guys. So without further ado, let's get into the first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to music in an astrological birth chart. So I want to talk about the asteroid Euterpe in your chart. And I need to give a little shout out to my Moon Girl reading on Instagram, because she did a post on this asteroid and it was very, very educational. So Euterpe is an asteroid that you can find in your chart. Go to astro.com and you can find this asteroid in the asteroid list when you're looking up your birth chart. So Euterpe is an asteroid that symbolizes all things related to music, and it can symbolize musical gifts, musical talents, even your relationship to music, like what type of music you might like. So this is super interesting to look into when you want to know more about a possible career or your musical gifts. And in my opinion, again, it's not limiting to anything, but in my opinion, a Euterpe, for example, in the earth signs can be a sign of making a career out of music. Why? Because the earth signs, they deal with the material world, they deal with our work, they deal with often money related matters. So if you have your Euterpe in the second house, it could be an indicator of you making money through music. In the sixth house as well, it's related to our work. It could symbolize working in a musical field. And as well, more than anything, the 10th house, we're getting into that a little bit more, is the house of your career. So if you have your Euterpe in the 10th house, it could be a very, very strong indicator of pursuing a musical career in this lifetime. All right. Then beside those house placements, there are also a couple more indicators with Euterpe. If you have your Euterpe in the 5th house or in Leo, because Leo is associated with fame, it's known as the entertainer. Leo is associated with popularity. So if you have the asteroid of music, in the sign of Leo, this could be a strong sign that you will be an entertainer of some sort, and it could be having to do with music. And the 5th house is the house that Leo rules. So the 5th house again can have an indication of popularity, fame when it comes to music. Okay, then another interpretation of Euterpe could be the 11th house. If you have your Euterpe in your 11th house, the 11th house deals with networking, it deals with community, with groups, it even deals with technology. So often someone with Euterpe in the 11th house could have a following online, or they could share their musical talents, for example, online, or they will have people following them because it's the house that rules community. All right, so some other Euterpe related signs that could lead to someone pursuing a career in music: a 3rd house, because the 3rd house is communication. A Euterpe in the 3rd house could be a very beneficial placement for songwriters, for example, because the third house rules, communication, our thoughts, even to a certain extent, our words. So this could be a beautiful placement to have, a very talented placement. And I also think that Euterpe, for example, in Pisces, is a very powerful sign to have, because Pisces is known as one of the creative signs, okay? And lastly, I would say Euterpe, I already said this, in the second house of Taurus can really also embody, that Taurus energy, and Taurus rules the vocal cords. And therefore, a Euterpe in the second house or in Taurus can come with singing or creative gifts. All right. And especially that second house can also represent making money through that. So that's one hell of a powerful placement. Then, to follow up on this beautiful asteroid Euterpe, it's important to look at the degree, especially if Euterpe is in a critical degree, all right? So a critical degree means that there's extra emphasis on how this sign or how this placement plays a role in your life. So the degrees differ per modality. So for the cardinal signs is different than from the mutable or the fixed signs. And you can look this up. I don't have the numbers memorized, but you can look this up to see if your Euterpe plays an extra big role in your life, so to say. Okay, and then lastly, before looking into the second point, look at your aspects when it comes to Euterpe. So if Euterpe, for example, is aspected to your midheaven, your house of career, this can be a strong indicator of you following a musical career. Or Euterpe aspecting Mercury might indicate someone with a beautiful singing voice. If you have Euterpe aspecting your sun in a positive aspect, like conjunct or sextile or trine, this could be someone who gets known for their musical abilities. And then some other aspects, I would look into Neptune aspects, because Neptune is this very creative planet also associated with music. So Neptune Euterpe aspects would be an individual, like positively aspected individual with amazing gifts and talents when it comes to music, as well as moon aspects, because the moon also deals with, a level of creativity, how we can connect our emotions to our music if it's aspected to Euterpe, which can make a very powerful, talented musical person. All right, so that's the first note I have on a possible musical career or strong gifts when it comes to looking at your chart. Alright, so the second thing I would recommend when looking in your birth chart for any indications of musical talents and gifts, again, these signs are not the only signs that can have musical talents and gifts. Like we see artists, with all sort of signs, but I do personally think that having Leo placements or fifth house placements, especially your sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, or Neptune, and of course your midheaven, could be a strong indicator of someone who's born to entertain, who is born to have some sort of popularity. All right, so for example, Doja Cat, she has midheaven in Leo, which the midheaven is the 10th house, which represents our career, or what energy we embody in our career. And yeah, she has this very naturally born entertainer vibes to her, right? So yes, look for these Leo placements, because Leo is associated with fame. It's associated with, like I said, popularity, entertaining, and therefore can be associated with music as well. Then the second sign that I feel can be very much so related to musical gifts is Taurus. I talked about this a little bit already. Taurus rules the neck, it rules the vocal cords. So often we see singers with beautiful voices, for example, with prominent Taurus or Venus placements. But in particular, I'm talking about Taurus right now. So Ariana Grande, for example, has a Taurus Venus. She has a very beautiful voice. Of course, the voice is also connected to Mercury, but it can also be connected to Taurus placements. So we have Taurus placements, in particular, again, the Sun, the Moon, the Mercury, the Venus, and the Neptune that I would look into, and of course the midheaven. So yes, because Taurus is also ruled by Venus, and Venus is another planet that can be very much so associated with music because it deals with our creativity, you know, and our aesthetic and all these very creative influences that we have in our lives can be found as well by our Venus placement. So therefore, like a Leo Venus or a Taurus Venus might really make a very creative individual and possibly someone with musical talents or gifts. And then the third sign that I want to talk about, and I cannot say it enough, it's not limited to these signs, but I want to talk about these signs because I have looked into astrology associated with musicians, and I feel like a lot of very creative, talented singers also have prominent Pisces placements, right? So Pisces, arguably one of the most artistic signs of the zodiac. So Pisces has this very beautiful Neptunian energy, and Neptune deals with our dreams, our imagination, also our musical gifts, you know. So therefore Pisces has such a beautiful, talented energy to them, people with Pisces placements. So again, look for a Sun in Pisces, a Moon in Pisces, a Mercury in Pisces, a midheaven in Pisces, or a Neptune in Pisces. Very, very strong creativity that often comes with these individuals. Now I'm going to move on to the third point, and this is, in my experience, the most important thing to look into when you look for a career related message when it comes to astrology, all right? So in astrology, the 10th house symbolizes our career. It symbolizes the energy we embody in our careers. So therefore, I would say if you look into your 10th house, it can tell you a lot about the career that you're, you know, meant to be in this lifetime. So, for example, we already talked a little bit about the midheaven, but it can be like a Leo, a Pisces, or a Taurus midheaven, also possible for any other zodiac signs. But something that we haven't talked about is the aspects to your midheaven, all right? So if you have strong aspects like Euterpe aspects, Venus aspects, positive aspects in particular to your midheaven, this can be an indication that you're going to be using that creative energy, that musical energy in your career. So look at, again, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Neptune, Venus aspects to your midheaven, because they can indicate they can indicate you using that creative energy in your career and possibly a musical career. And then we have come to the last point of this reading that I looked into, and that was the North Node placement. The North Node in astrology symbolizes our soul mission, our soul purpose, the thing that we're meant to work towards in this lifetime. And if you have a North Node, for example, in the 5th house or in Leo, it can symbolize that you're meant to have some sort of fame or popularity in this lifetime. Or another thing I saw, a North Node in the 11th house or prominent placements in the 11th house, because the 11th house can talk about having a following, having a community, speaking for a crowd, or like reaching multiple people with, your soul, with what you're meant to shine into this world. So look at your North Node, like a North Node in Pisces, for example, or a North Node in Taurus, or a North Node in Leo, or possibly other placements as well, but those could be strong indicators. So I also looked up for some examples. So for example, Ariana Grande, she has her North Node in the 11th house. So this can indicate that she was meant to have a following in this lifetime. And then we have Christina Aguilera, which I want to do a video on because her chart really amazed me. She has her Sun, Mercury, and Neptune all in the 10th house. So her identity, her voice, her creative influences, astrologically were meant to come through in her career. And I feel like, that's one of the things she is known for, her voice and, her presence as well with that sun energy, which is amazing. And then I looked at Damiano Duff, I don't say it properly, but the guy from Måneskin, he has a moon in Taurus in the 2nd house. And he is, of course, a very musical person, and he has a very prominent, beautiful voice as well. So that's another. And he has his North Node in Leo. So his purpose could very well literally have been to be in the spotlight, to entertain people. And that's something that we see that he's been doing as well with his other band members, of course. And I looked a little bit at Bad Bunny, his chart, because he's ruling the charts lately. I'm like, okay, wait, let me see what's going on there. And he has his midheaven, for example, in Pisces. And I believe at least his sun is also in Pisces, and maybe his moon too. So he has like incredible creative energy here. And he has his North Node in the 5th house. Again, like that North Node in a Leo related house or sign can indicate people that become popular. And then lastly, I looked into Rihanna, and her North Node was in Pisces. So this could also be an indicator of, being in this life to inspire people with your creative gifts, or possibly through your musical gifts. So that was just some examples of some celebrity placements that I personally looked into. Of course, I didn't look into all celebrities. I just looked into some of my favorite celebrities. So that was today's reading, and let me know what signs, what placements you have, or any other indicators that you think can be very much so related to musical talents. And hopefully you guys enjoyed a reading like this. Let me know, and I'm sending so much love to you. Bye.